Welcome to SAGU SportsFEED, your news source for Lions athletics, Sooner Athletic Conference sports, and NAIA headlines. I'm Tim Roberts.
I'm Matt Williams.
This past weekend, the SAGU Lions took on Wayland Baptist University, and unfortunately, they dropped the ball. Wayland scored 2 touchdowns by the end of the first quarter, leaving the Lions in a desperate situation. With seconds left before the half, Lions quarterback Gary Powell threw a Hail Mary to Patrick Hall, making the score 17-7. A fumble in the second half led to a Pioneer touchdown, giving them a standing lead. Even though SAGU lost 5 receivers due to injuries, Gary Powell was able to throw one more touchdown to Keontre Jackson with just over 3 minutes left in the game. Wayland picked up the 24-14 victory over the SAGU Lions.
Earlier in the volleyball season, John Brown beat the Lions in an intense 5-set game. The SAGU Lady Lions reclaimed victory this weekend 3-1. During the second game against John Brown, the Lady Lions won sets 2, 3, and 4. Alexis Mealer led the dominating front row with 18 kills, and Ava Myers followed with 16. This win moved SAGU up to 3rd place in the Sooner Athletic Conference rankings and dropping John Brown to number 4.
This past week in soccer, the Lady Lions took on 3 losses against USAO, Austin College, and OCU. SAGU played against the number 10 ranked Lady Drovers, who came in with a 12-1 record and lost with a heart-wrenching score of 9-0. Thursday, the Lady Lions had a hard fight against Austin College in Sherman, Texas, but fell short as the game ended with a score of 2-1. SAGU's last game of the week was against OCU in Oklahoma City. Unfortunately, the Lady Lions once again fell far from a win. With the score being 2-0 at halftime, SAGU held its ground, but the final score ended with a score of 3-0. SAGU men's soccer team also lost both their games this past week. Tuesday, the Lions took on the USAO Drivers with the game ending 7-0. Saturday's game against Oklahoma City University was an aggressive game as there were a total of 7 yellow cards given and a total of combined 26 fouls. The match against OCU ended with a victory for the Stars, a score of 3-0. We'll be right back with Players of the Week, rankings, and more after the break.
There is a place where lions run free to chase their dreams. It's a place where character isn't an act, it's an attribute. And character on the field or court is as important as the score on the board. Welcome to a place where seeds are planted, dreams grow, and lions always know how to roar. This is SAGU.
Welcome back. This week's Sooner Athletic Conference football players of the week include Austin McCullough of Ottawa University, Arizona, as Offensive Player of the Week for the 2nd time in his collegiate career after he threw a trio of touchdowns in last week's defeat of Langston 27-7. Defensive Player of the Week went to Wayland Baptist KALEB Thornton after he snagged 2 interceptions from SAGU in the pivotal 4th quarter, leading Wayland to a 24-14 victory over the SAGU Lions. The Special Teams Player of the Week was Texas Wesleyan's Gregory Blazer, after he launched 4 punts for a total of 184 yards, giving his teammates the defensive upper hand. Moving over to the Sooner Athletic Conference Volleyball Players of the Week, the SAGU Lady Lions raked in 3 awards, with Alexis Mealer being named Attacker of the Week with 18 kills, 3 blocks, and a .325 hitting percentage. The Defender of the Week title goes to NIKKI ALMAGUER with 32 digs this past Friday. And the Setter of the Week goes to Sophia Ivy with an astounding 54 assists, 5 digs, and 4 kills this past week.
In a surprising twist for last week's NAIA Game of the Week, it was 17th ranked Ottawa, Arizona football team that defeated 15th ranked Langston with a 27-7 win on Saturday night. The Spirit did something that no conference team had done since 2016, which was defeating Langston to end its 24-game conference winning streak. The win leaves the Spirit as the only undefeated team in the Sooner Athletic Conference and one of just 10 teams in the NAIA without a loss this season. They will now get set to face in-state rival Arizona Christian at October 26th at Cactus High School in Peoria, Arizona. Taking a good look at the Sooner Athletic Conference volleyball standings, Oklahoma City leads the way at 13-0 with Texas Wesleyan at 11-2. Meanwhile, SAGU jumps into that 3 spot over John Brown after that big win earlier this week. Over in men's soccer, John Brown moves up to the number 1 spot at 5-0, while Southwestern Christian stays at number 2 at 5-2. MACU is at number 3 at 4-1, while Wayland Baptist sits at number 4 at 3-2. Meanwhile, in women's soccer, John Brown is undefeated at 5-0. USAO is at 5-1 after moving up to number 2. Texas Wesleyan is 3-1, and Oklahoma City is at number 4. Meanwhile, over on the gridiron, Ottawa, Arizona leads the way at 5-0 after that huge win. Langston falls at 3-1, while Lyon College also sits at 3-1, while Arizona Christian rounds out at 3-1 as well, heading into that huge matchup against Ottawa, Arizona. Now let's toss the pigskin over to Chalk Talk with Matt.
Welcome to Chalk Talk. I'm your host, Matt Williams. We're going to talk some pigskin today in week 3. And we're going to go immediately to the defensive side of the ball. I love defense. That's what I played all growing up and in college. And so immediately we're going to look at this front. You see Kobe Roach coming down. He is the strong side linebacker, Sam, as you will. He's playing outside. And what he's doing with this line is he's reading the screws of that in man in the line of scrimmage. He's reading the screws of his helmet. And so he's reading that. Boom, he sees a high hat. High hat means pass coverage. Low hat means it's a run play. So he reads low hat, so it's a run play. And then he's going to make a great initial contact. He delivers a blow. He doesn't take a blow. And he understands that he is containment. He has to keep his outside arm and leg free, so that's what he's going to do. And he creates great initial contact. He gets into the backfield. But let's really look at this backside defensive end, Jordan Coleman. He's been a stud all season. He's done what he has done every single game, game in, game out. And he is scraping the line of scrimmage. And what that means is he is being aware of a cutback by a running back, in this case, quarterback, receiver, whomever it may be. But he's aware of the cutback rather than taking an angle and being in geometry class, because everything in geometry, you know, it's all about angles. But in football, it is about angles, but he's not chasing anything. He wants to stay parallel to the line of scrimmage so he can be there for the cutback. Kobe makes a great initial contact, as I said, and they're there in the backfield. Kobe, Jordan, Trey August, they're there. That's a negative 4-yard gain. And so where we go to the second play is we're going to go on the offensive end. We've been talking about Justin Allen the past couple of weeks. He's just a stud. He's just a skilled player that anytime you can get the ball in his hands, he's going to do what he does. And here he's taking a direct snap. This is not Wildcat. This is a direct snap. And if you would acknowledge, you see here number 45, that's Derek Shelby. He's a starting defensive end for the SAGU Lions. And so if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm thinking, hey, this is a design run. We're not worried about the pass. They're going to run the ball. And indeed, that's what they do. But let's watch. You see this backside defensive end, as we just talked about with Jordan Coleman. He had a great play. He's scraping the line of scrimmage. That's absolutely great. But we're going to keep continuing. And then we have this linebacker that wants to come underneath this block. And Jordan Coleman, he's still, this isn't Jordan, but what I'm talking about in the past clip is Jordan stayed parallel with the line of scrimmage. He continued to be parallel and scrape, as the defensive coordinator say, scrape the line of scrimmage. And he's continuing to play that. Our backer wants to come inside of this block, and then he understands that Justin Allen is just too fast. And so he's like, okay, I can't go inside, so I'm going to go outside of this block and try to fit in between this block and then Derek Shelby. And this is where things start to get messy, because he wants to come over the top. So he said, hey, okay, I'm going to begin to scrape the line of scrimmage to try to cut Justin Allen off. And this backside defensive end says, hey, I'm going to cut up the field just in case if he wants to break loose and go up the sideline, I can, possibly grab an angle on him and take him down. And then that's where everything breaks down, because his responsibility is the backside cut. And he decides to go upfield, and then that's when Justin, he's a veteran, he's a senior, he's an athlete, he's been through this so many times, so many times, that he said, okay, I'm gonna stop on a dime and I'm gonna cut it back. And so he cuts it back, and you have a pretty good backside block by this backside receiver, and then Justin takes it for a 20-yard scamper. And so Justin Allen, anytime you can get it in a skilled position player's hands is the best, just because they can make plays happen on their feet, with their arm, with their legs, and is good. But that's all I have this week for Chalk Talk with Matt Williams. But after the break, we'll give you the latest rankings of players of the week for the major fall sports across the NAIA. Plus, we'll bring you this week's volleyball Chalk Talk with Maddie Hartline. We'll be right back.
Selecting a university can be a tough decision. You might be asking yourself, do I want a school that's in the heart of a big city, or am I looking for a calmer, more laid-back environment? Well, students that attend SAGU don't have to choose. Our university offers the perfect balance of both. SAGU's primary campus is located in Waxahachie, Texas, just south of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, allowing our students to enjoy the atmosphere of a rural town while still being close enough to the big city. Here, you'll be offered a door of opportunity into future business opportunities, an entertaining environment, as well as a great place to obtain your education. Just 30 minutes north are restaurants, theaters, theme parks, museums, shopping malls, and professional sporting events. These, along with many others, are great ways to take a break from your studies and create lifelong memories with friends. For those who would rather enjoy relaxing in the great outdoors, the DFW area offers many places where you can get away from it all and enjoy nature. For many of our students, there is no better way to pass the time than by relaxing on a cool fall or spring day while watching a beautiful Texas sunset. Now, your college experience is not only about having fun. Once you complete your degree, you'll most likely be looking for a great place to start your career. This area is one of the best places in the nation when it comes to employment opportunities after you graduate. Many of our students obtain internships at businesses in this area, which lead to full-time employment opportunities. So if you're looking for a great place to jumpstart your career after graduation, this area would be a great place to start. So, are you still weighing out your options about where you want to attend school? Well, by choosing SAGU, you don't have to decide between the opportunities of the big city and the small town atmosphere. Here, you get the perfect mix of both. To find out more information about the academic options SAGU offers, visit our website at sagu.edu.
Welcome back. The NAIA announced DAVONTE Williams of Weber International as the NAIA Football Offensive Player of the Week. Williams had 2 receiving touchdowns in the final 4 minutes of play, including a game-winning 52-yarder with 18 seconds left on the clock. Matt Schwartz of St. Francis has been named the NAIA Football Defensive Player of the Week. With 8 seconds left in the game, Schwartz blocked a field goal attempt, which led to a St. Francis scoop and score from 65 yards out. Lastly, Mike Iturbe of St. Xavier has been named the NAIA National Football Special Teams Player of the Week after kicking a record-breaking 57-yard field goal, which is the longest field goal in college football this year.
Now on to last week's Women's Soccer Players of the Week. Alexis Garcia from Indiana Wesleyan has been named the NAIA National Women's Soccer Offensive Player of the Week after she scored 2 game-winning goals, which led to the Wildcats' 2 victories of the top 20 teams, Marianne and Indiana of Grace, Indiana. Also from Indiana Wesleyan, Defensive Player of the Week went to Sam Castaneda. She made 17 saves in the Wildcats' 2 upset victories, including an 8-save shutout over Marion, Indiana. Now we're going to move over to 2019 NAIA Coaches Top 10 poll for this past week. At 1, you have Morningside, followed by Kansas Wesleyan at 7-0, Marion at 5-0, Grandview at 7-0. Now moving over to top 10s in men's soccer, you have Central Methodist at 12-1, Columbia at 12-0, William Carey at 9-0, West Moyne at 9-1. Moving on to the top 10 for women's soccer, you have Kaiser at 12-1, William Carey at 12-1, University of Northwestern Ohio at 11-1, and Southeastern at 10-2. In volleyball, we have Missouri Baptist at 17-3, Northwestern at 18-0, Indiana Wesleyan at 20-0, and Viterbo at 17-3. Now let's head over to Chalk Talk with Maddie Hartline.
The The SAGU Lady Lions had a huge victory over John Brown University this past Saturday. I want to show you guys some of the keys for that victory. John Brown University is one of the top 4 teams in our conference this year, so it was a huge deal for them to go up against each other. One of the big things about John Brown University is that they are a great blocking team. The Lady Lions knew this going in, so they knew that they would have to cover their hitters well. They would have to be using the block to their advantage. In this play, you're going to see Ava Myers tool the block. This means that she hits the ball off of the block, resulting in the ball going out and a point for the Lady Lions. Here you see that the block isn't fully pressed into position 6, but she is going to swing at an angle so that the ball goes out, as you see here, resulting in a point. Another thing I wanted to show you guys was how quick the SAGU Lady Lions defense is and how important that was when playing a very good offensive team. In this play, the John Brown University girls are going to be running a 3, which is a very quick set and is actually pretty tough to defend against. The block for the Lady Lions is actually a bit late, so there's a split. NIKKI ALMAGUER sees this, steps into that split so that she's knowing that that ball is probably going to come straight to her, which it does. The ball is set out to Ava Myers, and she again tools the block, using that to our advantage. Another thing that was really key in the victory this weekend is a back row attack. Ariel Horton is a new addition to the team this year, and she has been a big part of SAGU's offense. Even though she does play back row, she has a strong back row attack, and it's smart knowing where to place the ball, and she also has a great swing. In this play, the ball is put into play. Pass set, swung by John Brown. It's a dig by NIKKI ALMAGUER. The ball is set back row. You're going to see Ariel Horton. She has a great vertical, so she's up in the air. She's sees that spot where that yellow arrow is pointing to, and she swings and ultimately gets a kill for the Lady Lions. This attack is vital to our offense because it keeps the other team on their toes at all times, knowing that they have another person to have to block. The last thing I wanted to show you guys today is how important a fast offense is. The SAGU Lady Lions really try to keep their offense as fast as possible, making sure that the other team's block has to move quickly and gives them a smaller chance of actually blocking the ball. In this play, you're going to see a pass by Brittany Stalaby. It's set out to the outside, but you see that there are 3 hitters. The green arrow is pointing to our outside hitter. She's off the camera, but the other 2 are already running for that ball, resulting in a very quick offense. The ball is set to the outside, it's blocked, it's dug up, and then moved to a different part of our offense, allowing Emma Tompkins to get a great swing on the ball. Keeping the ball moving like this makes sure that the other team's blockers are on their toes at all times. Coming up in this week's Coach's Corner interview, we'll have SAGU's football associate head coach Sean Riley, and later, this week's Pride Profile. Stay tuned.
At Southwestern, we endeavor to offer more than the average college curriculum, producing men and women whose lives are pleasing to God, and that's worth everything.
Welcome back. With us today is Football Associate Head Coach Sean Riley, who oversees the special teams here at SAGU. Thanks for joining us today, Coach. First, real question, what do you look for when you are analyzing new talent, new recruits for the SAGU special teams units?
Well, the first thing that I look for is, obviously we look at film first, so I'm going to look at if they can tackle. Seems pretty basic. It's got to be a certain type of tackle. They've got to be able to track the hip, eyes through the thighs, wrap and roll, all those little keywords I look for. Once I find that, I need to make sure that they're in a good culture. Is their school a good culture school? Our school here is very uncommon, so we need to have people that can adapt to what we have. Then the next thing I look for is to make sure that they're good students. Good students do really well here. People in cultures do really well here.
Once the season gets started, what is your role as the special teams coordinator with the football team, in the film room, out on the practice field? What's a week look like for you once the season gets rolling?
Weeks are real long. Monday, I have the entire team in a meeting. I also have the entire team Sunday night in a meeting. Sunday night, we do about 15 minutes of motivational speaking. I do for them some sports psychology. I used to teach that in high school. Then we get into the fixes. So Coach Smith likes us to have 5 good plays from the Saturday night game, 5 bad plays. We quickly adjust. Monday, I'll have them in again for a meeting, and it'll be our game plan meeting. But again, I'll have the whole team in there. So it'll be a game plan meeting. Tuesday morning, I'm up here at about 5:45 in the morning. We do our first spec ops practice at 6:50, and that's in the morning. So we'll go 6:50 to 7:30. And that'll be whatever my focus is for the day, whether it be punt return. Wednesday, same exact schedule. Obviously, we still go out. We still have all our meetings during the day. We go back out at 4:15. We'll be out there till about 5:30. And then I'll come in, I'll watch all the film from practice to make sure that we're properly prepared for the next morning. So unlike the other coaches, they have the entire day to prepare for their prep. I have about an hour and a half. And then I go home with my family, and then I'm back up in the morning to prepare again.
So it just kind of, it never ends for you.
Never ends. Thursday's a pretty difficult day as well. Friday is the day we call it the haze in the barn. Mm-hmm. So there's not a lot that we do on Friday. We just kind of prepare for the next day.
In game, what kind of adjustments are you looking to make? Obviously, sometimes you're running out different return men and things like that. How are you making those adjustments in game? The biggest adjustment I have to make in game, which we really dealt with last Saturday against Wayland, is my depth chart for kick returners. I mean, we had Justin Allen, he went down with an injury. We have Jalen Moss, he's really banged up. We have 3 or 4 other people that we're still relying on to come in. So I have to prepare usually about 6 or 7 kick and punt returners during the week because of the injuries that are happening. In-game adjustments, I have a depth chart that goes 3 deep at each position. And so what that allows me to do is I don't have to run around like you see people looking, if Jalen Moss goes down, Christian Cross goes in. If Christian Cross goes down, Kobe Roach goes in. If Kobe Roach, it's just a constant. The only thing I have a problem with is if TH goes down, we're in a little bit of trouble. Do you have the emergency kicker online?
We do. Seth Green, I've been training him to kick. Seth Green's our punter, of course. I've been training him to kick. He kicked a little bit in high school, but we spend a lot of time, a couple hours a day working on that.
You've been here for 2 years now. Name some guys that really have stood out to you, both for their on-the-field stuff and as well as off-field character.
Well, the person I'm obviously the closest to, which you may not know, is my son, Dylan Riley. He's number 47. He's been banged up all year, so he hasn't played a lot. He's a special teams guru for me. I've had him with me since 6th grade, so he could coach the special teams. TH and I are extremely close. We've built a really great bond. One of the big things about me taking this job was having a great kicker, so I didn't have to develop one. I'll develop one after him. He stands out, but the guys I mentioned before, Jalen Moss, Christian Cross, I have a new young guy, Drake Rodriguez, number 50. He's a phenomenal asset for me. Essentially, anyone that gets out there at 6:50 in the morning with me is on my list of guys that make a real positive impact.
When it comes to developing, where do you see things kind of going for the rest of this year and into next year, especially as it does come to finding a kicker eventually to replace Tlong Hamung, who's been so solid? Where do you see things going from here?
Well, the first thing is we established about a week and a half ago that we're building a foundation. Clearly, we're not getting the results, and you call the games and you see that there's just, we call it can't get right syndrome. We've got all the talent, we've got all the pieces, we're missing a few here and there, but for this particular year, we just can't catch a break. So we know spiritually we're in alignment. We do our Bible study in the mornings, on Monday mornings. It's the first thing we do. So spiritually we're in alignment. Physically we're in alignment. At the end of the game, when the horn blows, we're not in alignment with the scoreboard. What I see us moving forward is we're putting a foundation together that a lot of programs in transition have done. And what that's allowing us to do is some guys have never lost. You know, I've never lost 7 games in my playing career, my coaching career. I just never have. So this is new for me. Losing 6 games is new for me. If we lose 8 games, it'll be new for me. You know, whatever, each week brings us a different challenge. What I see moving forward is I do see dominance. You know, we have an extremely young defense. It's ranked really high in the NAIA. It's #1 in the conference, and it's dominant. We know we're always going to have an offense with Coach Smith calling it. We know that. It's just a matter of getting these young guys developed.
Well, good luck for us this season. We look forward to seeing what develops here into 2020. Thanks so much for joining us here on the SAGU Sports Feed. Now let's take a look at a SAGU volleyball player who is a leader both on and off the court. Here's Lauren Polite with this week's Pride Profile.
Brittany is known for her caring nature and compassion for others and has been an influence for many.
My teacher brought me to SAGU to watch a volleyball game because volleyball is something that I've always done. I've been a part of since, like elementary, basically, and I played all throughout junior high, all throughout high school, and I knew it was something that I wanted to do in the collegiate level. So I watched a volleyball game, and then after that we walked around campus, and I felt such a peace, and I felt that this was a really awesome place to be. And through praying, through just like feeling about it and going to other places, other schools, looking at them, I felt this is exactly where the Lord had me to be. Being on the volleyball team has been such an amazing ride, especially since it's something that I had wanted to do for such a long time. It was a goal of mine. At one point it looked like I wasn't going to be able to play at the collegiate level, so the Lord opened a door, and that was just something that I thought was super cool. When I first got here, I had no friends. I didn't know anybody. You know, I came in really late.
Her husband, Darren Noakes, is very proud of her.
We knew going into the relationship that it was going to be hard, but yeah, we made it work. I would go to tournaments, I'd go to games, I'd find a way to get there. She's a good athlete, but more than anything, she's caring. She has a heart to really minister, not only being a player, but being a coach, is because she takes what she's learned, she applies it, but she always relates what she's coaching and teaching them on the floor to their lives outside of volleyball.
Job-wise, the only thing that I know that I want to pursue is being a volleyball coach. Volleyball is a huge passion of mine, but so is people.
She didn't know if she was going to be able to come play volleyball at the college level. Literally was like 3 weeks before they had to report. Coach was looking for a setter/DS, and he contacted a alumni. And she said, I have this girl, she's already tried out. I really, seriously, I think you need to take another look. I think you really need to reconsider.
Last year was the first year we actually tied for first in conference, and that hasn't been done, I think, in the whole 19 years Coach Moore has coached here. So that was a big achievement for him, for the program, for SAGU as a school, as a student body. It's something that we just haven't done. So it was a really cool accomplishment. But it definitely was a long journey, a long road, because we started out winning, and then like 4, 5, 6 games in a row we lost, so we had to fight back even harder to get back to that position. I mean, through that you learn, you know, how to overcome adversity. You learn how to work with things and work with people when it's not always going your way.
Brittany's career at SAGU has made a big impact, and in May, she'll leave even bigger shoes to fill. From SAGU Sports Feed, I'm Lauren Polite.
Thank you for joining us for the SAGU Sports Feed. We'll see you next week.